First race weekend of the BMW IBSF Bobsleigh and Skeleton World Cup. We're in Sigulda in Latvia, and it's an early Saturday morning start for women's bobsleigh. Women's bob and two-man on the card for today. Good morning, everybody, wherever you are. Thank you for joining us. I'm Martin Haven, ready for the start of the first of the two heats as ever. We have 9 sleds on the entry, with the restrictions that everybody is very well aware of. A number of nations who are not yet travelling outside their own borders. However, should be in for an entertaining race. 1,200 metres of competitive ice starting, 5 stories up in the air. And Andrea Greco, last year's silver medalist, the European silver medalist, the first ever such for Romania. She is our start record holder with a 5.29 getaway. She and Iona Georgia are back in the sleds and on the start list this weekend. Well, they ended up getting pipped in the end for the gold medal by Nadezhda Sergeva, who became Russia's first female European champion in bobsleigh. Sergeva, like the rest of the Russian team, were here but have not been able to compete because of positive COVID tests. Listen to the wind noise, the way the speed builds down the track. Long, quiet run down to corner 15. Big pressure there. Second pressure coming in right at the end. Over the outrun, down into corner 16. And then under the track, across the finish line, and back up the hill to the finish area. So just 1,200 metres of ice, but plenty to keep the sled busy. It was originally built as a luge track. There are lots of corners here. So 9 sleds on the start list, and we have 3 from Germany. So France, Switzerland, Austria, Poland, and Romania also represented. And we've got a couple of new sleds here as well. This is not a Greco-Roman temple that they are exercising inside. That is the elevated section at the beginning of the track. And there will be a slight delay to us getting sleds on ice. One of our forerunners has just crashed. This does happen occasionally. Forerunners are not necessarily always hugely experienced. Often a lot of the young sliders from the bobsleigh clubs will be part of the forerunning. And the forerunners are used to report about weather conditions, if it's foggy, if it's snowy, if it's raining, to tell the jury about visibility, particularly if it's snowing, whether visibility is acceptable or not. And of course, they also trigger the timing system. So we find out that the timing system is working, or conversely, very occasionally, we find out that there is a glitch in the timing system. And as a result, you don't end up with competitive runs being compromised by issues with the clocks in the track. So all the tracks have electronic timing eyes built in, and Swiss Timing, who come and do the timing for us, will plug into those and plug into the network of cabling. So just occasionally there will be a glitch in the ice. We just saw Margot Bock of France. She and Carla Seneschal both here. Not hugely experienced bobsledders yet, and this is their first time here. Let's take a little look down our start order. We'll be going to have at least, this is a nice early start to the morning, and already we're not starting early. You can see the grooves in the track there, the gouge marks that the sled, as it rolls upside down, they very rarely right themselves. It does occasionally happen, but then all the sort of edges and handles and bits and bobs gouge the track. And this is a view from down by the TV trucks. This is the loop down at the bottom. You can see over the top of the outrun, that's the run from 14 to 15. Okay, so you just saw the track workers with a bucket of slush running back up to their positions. In fact, the track should be clear. So coming over the hill there, down to our left, is the track from 14 to 15. And here's our entry list. Katharina Beil from Austria will be first out of the blocks. Martina Fontenev from Switzerland, then Margot Bock, and our World Cup debutant, Sylwia Smolarek of Poland. So apart from World Championships last year, I'm struggling to think any time I've seen a female Polish bobsleigh crew. Mariama Jumanka will be halfway through our draw. Stephanie Hasler is here for Switzerland. Lara Nolter for Germany. Kim Kaliki also representing Germany, and Andrea Greco, last year's silver medalist, goes last. The honour of being the very first sled of the season for women's bobsleigh goes to Austria's Katrin Beil. Jennifer Onosanya behind her. Finished in 6th place in the race here last year. Former hurdler Katty Beil. And these two, a great fun combination. 5:35 the getaway. And she's our rabbit. She's going to give us a clue of what the track looks like. Little tap from 2 to 3 and then down into the labyrinth. 4, 5, 6 the big flick of a right-hander, left-hander even. 7, 8 and 9. Then right-handed corner 10 into 11. Important transition there. She slaps on the left. Out of 13. Whoa! Little rocky. Big slide from 14 all the way to 15. Need to come straight out of here. This is the graveyard of time, going uphill into 16. 122 kilometers an hour down at the bottom. That's the speed that we'll be looking at for the others, and a 51.18. Well, Andrea Greco with the start record from last year and the downtime record as well at 50.96. That was in February after a longer, colder winter than the mild autumn, mild autumn that they've had here. Her left hand misses the push bar completely. And of course that then not only throws off balance, she's then trying to fight herself back up against the sled, but loses some speed at the start. Big height in 15. Right up towards the woodwork. Does she get nudged away? Not quite by the ice. There's Katty Beil of Austria. Jennifer Onosanya, her brakewoman. Jennifer prides herself in being the only athlete who only has their initials, because she has so many Christian names on her official entry form. JJOD Onosanya. Next up, 34-year-old Swiss Martina Fonteneve. Nadia Pasternak, her brakewoman, 24-year-old. Born in Germany, lives in France, slides for Switzerland. Martina finished 9th in the race here last year. And that was her first time in Sigulda. So, number of trips down the track, very limited. 5:33 getaway, so a couple of hundreds faster. Usually into turn 1, then turn 2, and this 2 to 3 transition. Woo! Number 6. Meter this one, it looks, but she's behind on the clocks just by 100th of a second. 99.4 Ks for Katty Beil. Next top Beil was 112.3, little late flop. 110.7, doesn't have the speed of the Austrian sled. That's a decent exit, but a tap there. Very flat through corner 16, holding the line right down the middle, and slaps the wall on the exit as well. So 51.46 for Martina Fonteneve. She won't be overjoyed with that. It's a busy, busy track, isn't it? It all comes at you very quickly indeed. Nadia Pasternak unfolds herself from the back seat. Gets a little early height, checks it, and then the sled rises again on the exit. She was trying to stop it coming down too early, and in the end held it up just a little too late. Watch the runner tips. Big steer there to get it off. That really, she hoiked it off there. That's what the Brits would call Robin Hooding it. If you put your clenched fists together, normally the amount of driving you do will bring your knuckles maximum down to the ball of your hand. Robin Hooding it, imagine you're pulling a bow, you know, a bow and arrow. That's how hard you rip it off the corner. Margot Bock of France next up. The French, quote, twins, Margot Bock and Carla Seneschal, both blonde, blue-eyed. And the girls always say, everybody says, oh, you must be sisters, you're twins, right? Well, they're not, obviously. Came here in February, trained, but did not start the race. So this is their first race here in Sigulda. And it's Margot and Carla's third ever World Cup start. 53.3, 5.49 the start, 53.3 the exit velocity. Down on Catty Bile, 2400s behind at the moment. Again, though they have trained, yet to race here. 99.5, ooh! Again, came late off there, and a big slap on the opposite wall. A little more controlled off 14, that's decent line for the girl from La Plagne. Born in Albertville. Started as a luger, but her dad was a bobsledder, and that's what she always wanted to become. Little slap on the wall again, you'll see a lot of that. 51.56 for Margot Bock. Just her third season of bobsledding, and she and Carla have been together all the way through. Carla from Bordeaux. 24 years old, 21-year-old driver, Margot. Again, early height, checks it, and it rises again a little late in the turn. And watch as she brings it down hard, or it comes down hard into the left-hand wall. They're in that transition, but again, hard take on. Carla getting bounced up in the back seat. And our World Cup debutantes, Sylvia Smolarek, 22-year-old Pole, with Julia Slupeka, her 21-year-old brakewoman. Julia also has done some driving. She's done a bit of monobob and has a total of 4, count them, 4 official bobsleigh races as a brakewoman. So we are, again here, really in the foothills. But for Poland, it's fantastic to have a women's crew out on World Cup. As I said, although we have had relatively regular Polish men's crews, can't remember seeing a women's crew in a long while. So congratulations on making it to the World Cup. Welcome to them. 5.78 getaway. I imagine there is a very large degree of nerves. Sylvia also raced monobob in the 18-19 season, as well as starting in bobsleigh and raced in Europa Cup last year. She may well have been here in January last year. There was a Europa Cup race. Funny enough, yesterday didn't occur to me to look for that. Should check. Nice looking lines, little skiddy. Third best speed. Again, just a little late there. Letting the sled have its head a little through 16 did not harm her on the exit either. 52.43 slide. Well, whatever else, if she finishes the second heat, she will get a top 10 finish on her World Cup debut, and there's not an awful lot of athletes get that. Hey, 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 what, leave me hanging? Congratulations, ladies, and welcome to the World Cup. Well, not the easiest of tracks to make your debut at. I think a lot of drivers would argue, particularly when they're new at it, no tracks are easy. They all have their pitfalls. And again, in that transition, late exit means very hard on in that short transition. Watch the rear runners getting sideways. You can just see that little chips of ice being dug out of the track as the runners go sideways. And putting the runners back in their scabbards. Well, for them, that's all still relatively new. For Mariama Yamanka, all very much routine. Mariama with Vanessa Mark behind her. Mariama making her 38th World Cup start. Brakewoman Vanessa, just her second World Cup start. Her only previous one was in Lake Placid in 2019. She finished on the podium in 3rd place, 5:36 getaway. Our reigning Olympic champion, Mariama Yamanka, 2019 world champion as well. This is a nice, smooth-looking run. 300s up on our current leader, Kathi Beil of Austria. Ooh, late. And a big flop there, but she knew it was coming, controlled it well, and she still has the best speed. And clearly not much wrong with the FES kit. As usual, 1:23.0 best speed as well. Mariama Yamanka leads the race. She would hope and expect to be doing well. Nothing is guaranteed in life. Yeah, so Vanessa needed to hold the sled on the brakes just to make sure it didn't run back down the hill. But luckily, the coaches are there. That was a late exit, and that will have felt every ounce a late exit from the back seat as well. When your head is above your knees, that's okay. When your knees are above your head, feels a little less so, I think. Well, Yamanka here, the winner 2 seasons ago. And that was the season opener then. Last season's race here was the season closer. I have to get out of saying last year, because it wasn't. It was only in February this year. But 2020, with the masks, the separation, the COVID testing, a very different kind of a year. Mariama Yamanka leading from Kathi Beil and Martina Fontenev. It's an all-German-speaking podium. Although many Germans would argue that the Swiss and the Austrians don't actually speak German. It's a sort of a vague approximation. Let's go now with Melanie Hassler, 22-year-old with 23-year-old Yasmin Neef, her brakewoman. Only the 2nd ever World Cup start for Melanie Hassler and only the 3rd for Yasmin. Melanie Hassler made her debut here in February, the season closer last year. So she's in her 2nd World Cup race. This is only track she was raced on in World Cup. That, of course, will change, but not next week, because we remain here in Sigulda for 2 race weekends. Good-looking lines. Ooh, just as I'm thinking that, she skids a little wide. So as the words come out, it looks like the curse. The commentator had already thought the curse before the words got out. 3rd best speed. Where's she going to be at the line? 3rd or 4th, avoids the wall. 4900s back in 4th place. That's a very entertaining run from Melanie Hassler. Martina Fonteneva, her teammate, is just 800s in front of her. Christoph Lagan, the coach, has got 2 good teams on his hands here. Like so many Swiss, she has a real job as well. She's an insurance clerk. Tiny late exit, and the flop there just kicks the sled a little sideways. Brakewoman Yasmin has been in the sport some while. She started back in 2013, and she made her debut in Eagles in 2017 with Sabina Hafner. Next up, Lara Nolte made her World Cup debut last year. She did 5 races, finished on the podium in 4 of them. She won in Lake Placid. She had 2 silvers and a bronze, and won 9th place finish. Deborah Levy behind her, her 23-year-old brakewoman. She's had 3 World Cup races with a gold medal and 2 bronze medals. She's not quite sure what to do if you don't go straight to the podium. I'm being facetious, but they have got a good history together. Start record 5:21 for Lara Nolte and Deborah Levy. Now, they may have known from training that they were in that sort of territory, but training is one thing and doing it on race day is another. It is a clear, crisp morning, air temperature only about 1.5 degrees. So the track is not too frosty. Only the 4th best speed for Laura, but she's still in the green. She's not going to remain in the green. If she doesn't get some more speed, and she's over. And we've seen that late exit catching out a number of our sliders already. It's a very quick transition. And the German coaches will be ready to grab the sled. So hopefully our athletes are okay. They both stayed tucked down under the cowl. It's the only place to be. If you can, hang on in there. Yep. Okay, so Laura Nolte, Deborah Levy. They came across the line, incidentally. As you can see in the background, just in that tiny gap is the finish eye. So although they came across the line upside down, if they are fit to go and want to go, they are allowed to take a second heat. Big early pressure comes down far too early, and then the sled rolls right up into the woodwork. And by the time it starts to climb again, that's a crash already happening. The driver then has no chance of getting it back down. Centrifugal force is not always your friend. You can see Laura there being thrown half out of the cowl. And that's always what worries the medical crews, is when you're half out of the sled, being bounced against the floor and against the walls. As you imagine, a concrete wall coated in ice is not a forgiving environment for a human head, helmeted or otherwise. So sled will go out of the track here. And there you can see our 2 athletes, both standing up. They'll have rung their bell a little, I think. But the German doctor and the track doctor will assess them, make sure that they are okay. And then, assuming they are, they and their coach and possibly Marco, the technician who will have had a look at the sled, will assess whether or not they go in the second heat. Having crossed the line, they are eligible to go in the second heat. And there's Deborah, there's Laura Nolte. Deborah gives her a big hug. The drivers all feel enormous responsibility for their brake women. They really do work as a team, whether you use the same brake woman all the time or not. Because you know that you're driving the sled and they're in the accident when you have it. And the old adage, win as a team, lose as a team, is very much part of the business. So what the track work is doing here is putting in a little bit of snow or ice mixed with water. It goes on as a sort of slushy, almost like plastering in gaps. And they put it on with a trowel, smooth it in, and refrigeration helps it freeze solid really quickly, very quickly. And the idea is to fill in the biggest of the gouges, because runners will tend to find those gouges and then be led in directions that the driver does not want or need. So next start will be in a couple of minutes. That's a new graphic for this season. Don't recall having actually a graphic that gives us the time of the next sled. So track work has just got a couple of minutes to get on with that. And ironically, the track hold delays Laura Nolte's teammate Kim Kaliki. Let's tell you a little bit about Kim and Annabelle. Annabelle, her brake woman, making her World Cup debut. So Kim Kaliki we've seen before, not very many times, unless you read a lot of results. Kim Kaliki, her 3rd World Cup, 23 years old, and she was the surprise World Championship silver medalist in Altenburg in February. Made her World Cup debut last season in Lake Placid. She finished 2nd and 3rd. Those are her only 2 World Cup starts so far. Girl from Wiesbaden, who is in the police. And Annabelle Galanda, her 21-year-old brakewoman. She is clearly a real powerhouse because Annabelle has done just 4 Europa Cup starts and the Junior Worlds last season. So she is very new to the sport. Last year was her rookie season. Kim Kaliki, her driver. Ready to get things back underway here in Sigulda. First heat of the women's bobsleigh competition. Germany's Kim Kaliki, the world silver medalist on a home track in Altenburg. 5:38 start for her and her brakewoman Annabelle Galanda. Germany's Mariama Yamanka, the leader from Katibal of Austria, Martina Fonteneva of Switzerland. Nice looking transitions from Kaliki. Kaliki and teammate Lara Nolter, both of whom made their World Cup debut last season. The Germans have 2 very impressive young athletes. Only the 5th highest speed. Pinballing her way down. Gets it safely across the line though, 51.52. I'm sure there were a few nerves. It's not like she won't have experienced it before. But still, knowledge of this track will be in short supply for Kim Kaliki. Smile from her. There's her brakewoman, Annabelle. There's the familiar figure of Stefan Bosch. As ever, helping with sleds and the athletes down at the bottom. Again, little high on the exit here. And gets away with it, but a big transition. It's a hard take on. See the ice flying from the rear runners. Not quite so much a panic to get it off 14, but late pressure puts her into a skid, and then big early height in corner 15. And that's where she's going, whoa, whoa, whoa. Watch the runner tips, trying to hold the sled up and stop it dropping right back down into the ditch. So they'll weigh the sled, the runners, the helmets, and the athletes together. Paul Nyagu at the back of the sled for our final slider in Heat 1. Andrea Greco and Katharina Vick. So Andrea, 26 years old now, started as a brakewoman, started learning to drive, and came here last year and took the European silver medal. Start and downtime record holders. Up until this morning, let's see what they've got in the tank today. 5:41, 500s off, but if she gets a good speed down the track and at the bottom, that won't worry her much. Little tap into 4, 5, 6. And the longer flowing section 7, 8 and 9, whipping into 10, big corner 11. Only the 8th highest speed. This is not going to be a top 3 run then, at all. 5th highest speed, here we go, we're coming back. But we're running out of ice. Out of corner 15. Double pressure in corner 16, avoids a tap on the line, but only 7th fastest. 51.74. So came here last year, raced in the World Cup race, taking the silver medal and the European silver behind our race winner Nadezhda Sergeva. It was a big day for Romanian bobsledding, and just for a while it looked as though she might even take the overall win, become the European champion. Third on the podium was Stephanie Schneider. Now, Stephanie not fit to race at the moment. So, not in the German squad for now. And there is Andrea Greco, 24-year-old brakewoman Katharina Vick, her 2nd World Cup race. So again, her entire World Cup career so far has been played out in Sigulda, and that continues next week. First heat leaders, Mariama Jumanka and Vanessa Mark of Germany. Their advantage 1300ths of a second over Katy Bile, 4/10 over Martina Fonteneve, but Fonteneve's medal perhaps in some doubt. She's third, 600ths ahead of Kim Kaliki, 800ths ahead of Melanie Hassler, her compatriot, and Margot Bock only a 10th of a medal. Mariama Jumanka there in replay, still looking just as panicky about the sled rolling backwards and injuring her brake woman. So there's the way they finished. Lauren Alter and Deborah Levy, as I said, because they crossed the finish line and recorded a time, they are eligible to go again. And if they are fit, they may well feel, yes, I need to do this because we're still here next week. So this is not one that goes away until next season. And from third down to sixth position, those 4 sleds are all definitely in the medal hunt. And with the way that relatively lack of experience of Sigulda plays out, who knows what else might happen. Well, that's it for our first heat of the day from Sigulda in Latvia. The sleds will be back on ice at 10:30 local, which is 08:30 GMT. Wherever you are, join us then if you can. Till then, from the IBSF TV crew, from me, Martin Haven, we'll see you in 58 minutes. Bye for now.